What's up, guys? I'm Bormai, and today I have 9 tips to help make you into a Call of Duty Black Ops 4 god. Stick around for those tips, but first, if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the little bell, turn notifications on, leave me a thumbs up, and of course, I want to hear your comments. Do you like the tips? What tip was your favorite? That kind of thing. Let me know if I should make more of these videos. Alright guys, tip number 9. Slow down. You don't have to rush. You don't have to constantly be running. Guys, when you're moving too fast, sometimes you notice a little thing, like the guy crouching in the corner, camping. You know, maybe you would have seen him, or maybe if you slow down a little bit, you'll see the guy running out of a door a little bit of time to make sure that you're reacting properly and taking aim ahead of time so that you're guaranteed a kill. Tip number 8, try different guns with other attachments. I mean, listen to your friends that you're playing with. What gun are they using? What's working for them? Check out YouTubers. What are they doing? People on Twitch. What guns are they using? What are they doing to make that gun work for them? Maybe you tried a certain gun and you were like, man, this gun sucks. But once you unlock a certain attachment, like maybe a grip, maybe that gun becomes 100% different and it works for your play style. So make sure that you're not locked into one gun and closed-minded so you don't try new things. Definitely try new guns. Tip number 7, know your spawn points, guys. If you're playing TDM or free-for-all, especially if you're playing objective-based games, the spawns, they're huge, especially on objective-based games, okay? The spawns really only flip if 2 or more hostiles go into the spawn point or pass a certain threshold. So don't go too deep into spawns. Let them come to you, make them play your game, but definitely you need to know where those spawn points are. These maps are so much smaller than regular Call of Duty maps. I know a lot of them are remade, but they're the smaller or medium-sized maps. With the spawns in this game, it's definitely easy to get stuck in a crossfire or pincered in between 2 groups of hostiles. That's something you want to avoid. Tip number 6. Use your score streaks, guys. Make sure you're using those score streaks to get more score streaks. So, let's say you kind of need to think outside the box. So, if you get your first score streak, to help you get to your second score streak, why don't you use that first score streak? So if you have, alright, so let's say you have UAV, right? Use your UAV to help you get more kills to bring you to your second score streak. And if your second score streak is a missile, drop that missile on 2 or 3 guys to help you get to your third score streak. That way, you're not just using a score streak right away. You can also be patient with score streaks. Let's say that you're using an attack helicopter. Why don't you pull that score streak out, but you could save it until you get a couple more kills, and then maybe you could pull out that attack helicopter and get your second and third score streak. That way, you're maximizing your score streaks instead of just using them as soon as you get them.
I don't remember how to use the Hellstorm.
Number 5, know the flaws of your class.
I did get both
and what
of
I
them.
mean by this
UAV.
is if you don't have Ghost on, know when the enemy's calling a UAV that you're visible to it. And that's a weakness of the class setup that you're using. That doesn't mean you have to have Ghost on. Certain things require different, definitely different setups. So just make sure you know what you have turned on and what you have turned off, so that way you can adjust your gameplay when certain things happen. Like if you're not using dead silence, then maybe if you start sneaking up on a guy, you might want to crouch, take aim, be ready for him to turn around because he might hear you and turn around and kill you first. So always know the flaws of your class setup.
Why is Cinnamon downstairs?
Tip number 4, don't be afraid to reset during a fight. If you're losing a gunfight,
he's coming that way, Tony.
And you're around a corner, make sure that you're using that corner to heal up, and then get back into the fight. Don't just stand there and take enemy fire while you're getting shot or in a gunfight. Definitely maneuver yourself so that you can heal and reload if necessary. Don't just stand there and let them shoot you. Number 3, attachments and playstyle, guys. You definitely, how to explain this? Okay, so just because a tier 2 attachment is available doesn't mean that you have to use it. It doesn't necessarily mean that it is best for you or the class that you're running.
All it did was run around in circles, didn't get one kill.
Basically, they cost you more points to use of your 10-point class setup. I think it's 3 points. So, potentially, you could be wasting class points that would make you a better player instead of using a tier 2 attachment. Because that tier 2 attachment doesn't necessarily mean it's going to make you do better at the game. Okay? It might make you better at a certain map. It might make you better at a certain game style. But it doesn't necessarily mean that every single option is the best option because it's tier 2. Okay? It's not just because it's a mod setup doesn't mean that it's the best one there is. Make sure you're trying different setups and different attachments. That way, that was my phone. That way, when you have the right attachments for the right game, the right setup, the right class, that way you're maximizing your 10-point setup. That's my phone again. Number 2, specialist. Guys, if you want a certain specialist, you need to be Quick Draw McGee. Okay? When the game starts, you don't want to lose the specialist to someone else because certain game modes only allow one specialist per game mode. And if you're like, man, I got to have the Nomad every time, make sure as soon as that game is going,
my dog just
you're
ran
ready
around in
to
circles, literally.
flick your thumbstick up or use your key binding up to get that Nomad so somebody doesn't beat you to it. Certain classes are going to be more popular than others, and it's going to be a race to get those classes. So make sure when the game's starting, you're Johnny on the spot, ready to choose your specialist so you don't lose it. And tip number 1, you guys might have heard me talk about this before on other videos. My number 1 tip to show you the best, quickest improvement that you could get is to make sure that your scroll speed is right for you. Okay? The default scroll speed is not right for everyone. It might be too fast. It might be too slow. Just because people like Ali and T-Mart are using high-level scroll speeds does not mean that you are. You got to remember, they're pro gamers. All they do is play games. If you're a 24-year-old accountant, you're probably not a 15 scroll speed. So make sure you're using the correct scroll speed. Now, what I would recommend is you go into a private game, find a stationary object, and shoot that object. Bring your scope up and see how quickly you can shoot that object accurately. Adjust the scroll speed until you can do it. And then you're going to move over a couple steps to your left, do the same thing. Try to shoot it as accurately and as quickly as you can. If you're missing, you probably need to adjust your scroll speed slower. Okay? If you're hitting it, then you're definitely going to want to keep that scroll speed. And try stepping over to the right. Do this 10 times, and if you're hitting it 8 out of 10 times, then you're going to probably be a lot more accurate in the game. You're also going to want to try doing the same thing, crouched and prone, just to make sure when you bring up your gun, you can accurately aim it. What I like to do also in the private match is I'll find 3 stationary objects that are close by each other in proximity, and I will stand in one spot, and then I'll bring my sight up, and I'll shoot the middle one, and then try to hit the left one, and then the right one. And if I can hit all 3 of those from a reasonably close, medium, and far distance, then I feel like I have the right scroll speed. Now, if you're an 8 in Call of Duty Black Ops 3, it doesn't mean you're an 8 in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Things change. If you're playing other shooter games, definitely try the same thing, but they might be different. Like Fortnite, for example, has a bunch of ticks in between an 8 and a 9. So unlike Call of Duty Black Ops, which goes up whole numbers, you might be an 8.75. So just make sure in every shooter game, you're making sure that you're using the correct scroll speed for you. Remember, guys, hit that subscribe button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what tips that were your favorites, which ones you like the most, and what other things that you'd like to hear about. Until next time, I'm Bormai, signing out.